Welcome back, guys, to another episode of our podcast, Primo Capital. Again, I'm joined by our lovely CEO,
everyone.
Mr. Puya.
Hello, Ali. I'm great. How are you?
Great. So what's with the style today? Like, why did you put more effort into this episode?
I don't know. We started getting more serious, you know.
But I feel like something is missing, Mr. Puya. Just 1 second, bear with me.
What are you bringing?
Why did you hide
Oh, my white girl drink.
your white girl? Why are you afraid?
Thank you.
And it's matching your suit as well. He was a bit shy about the drink, so he hid it behind the camera. So how's everything, Puya?
To be honest, I made a new video about this actually. About the drinks. I have to watch it. It's on my TikTok.
Okay, and what is
it's
it
about?
about?
Matcha and white girl drinks.
And you're drinking it, so are you for it or against it?
I was actually complaining about matcha, not coffee. But anyways, I don't drink coffee just because of lack of water, and I didn't want to bring the guy from downstairs only for water, so I ordered coffee as well.
Our new office doesn't have water, huh? You're running a sweatshop, so we're gonna start producing shoes soon, huh?
Yeah. So the reason for the coffee is that I didn't want to bring him all the way for water only. I ordered water and coffee.
But I've noticed, Puya, you seem a bit down. What's wrong? What's the problem?
Depression.
Yeah.
Summer depression, typical in Dubai. Every summer during these 3 months, we get a depression. Like same as Scandinavian countries or northern countries. During the winter, they have 6 months of like darkness. They get depression during this period. We have similar, but at least here in Dubai, it's 3 months. It's not 6 months.
But you have a lot of fun. I see it in the office when you torture the agents or your employees. You're enjoying. See this evil laugh. No, but all jokes aside, as a matter of fact, someone suggested an interesting topic for us to talk about is luxury properties with the anecdotes. Luxury. Luxury. So you've noticed, like a lot of properties that we have these days, they label it luxury, but it's not really there. Right, so what is luxury?
I feel like almost every product that gets launched, it's a luxury product. They call it luxury. I don't know. This is the question. What is the definition of luxury? I mean, what is your opinion? What kind of projects you can label as luxury?
I mean, you wouldn't like my answer, and I might lose my job and my real estate license. But to be quite frank, it's very limited products in the market that I would label as luxury. Like, I've seen villas that are north of 100 million dirhams that don't have the luxury mark on them. You have problems with the quality, with the design, and they spent a lot of money on it. Like, if I compare it even to Iran, right? And Iran, we wouldn't call it a luxurious country as a whole, but Tehran, the capital, the amount of effort they put into the apartments there, the marbles imported from Italy, the quality is outstanding. You have feng shui, you have Chinese gardens, koi ponds. I just don't see that level of quality over here, even in the very, very expensive products.
I would beg to differ because we have really, really luxurious products, to be honest. Look at the villas in Palm, the custom-made villas in Palm. They're crazy. Some of the villas, I don't know if you've been inside of them. You rarely find such products in the world. And similar to that, the penthouses, some of the penthouses that we have are insane. Look at Bulgari Lighthouse, look at Como Residence, look at Royal Atlantis. Look at these things. It's crazy. I don't think you can find anything like that in the world. So we do have a lot of luxury products, true luxury products that are one of one in the world, and they can compete on a worldwide stage. But the issue is that because Dubai is a luxurious city and have a lot of luxurious buyers, they brand everything as luxury.
Even studios in, for example, Sports City and Arjan are being called luxury these days.
But the real question is here, like what kind of product we can call luxury. I know maybe not all of the products are super ultra luxury, but I'm not talking about that. Overall luxury, what we can call luxury. Doesn't necessarily have to be something insane or unique in a very specific way, or no, anything that is decently built, have decent quality can be called luxury. So what's your opinion?
See, let's look at it from a different perspective, right? Like, let's look at the watch market that you're familiar with, right? What do we classify as luxury in the watch market? Like what brands?
Rolex, AP.
No, I wouldn't
Patek.
consider Rolex as luxury. I would consider that mid-luxury, for instance, or mid-class.
I would consider it luxury because
They have luxury products, but at the same time, they have low-end,
I
low-ticket
mean, what is
products.
low end? $10,000 is the cheapest, almost the
But
cheapest.
if you average the entire market, for example, to Richard Milles that go up to $1 million, that would come in the lower end. Like
true.
I would classify luxury, for example, starting AP, Patek, Richard Mille. This is what I would consider luxury because the entry prices for those are high. And second thing, quantity is limited, right? There are a few factors to classify something that's luxury. One, limited quantity. Two, the price point that they have. Three, the quality and the build material. And four, the perceived value on the market. In my opinion, the same thing can be translated into real estate aspect, like the products that you name. Royal Atlantis, one of one in the world. You know, Como Residence is a rare
But here's
product.
my opinion. I will interrupt you. Here's my opinion. In my opinion, Rolex is still in a luxury segment, even if we go to Omega, like, which is a little bit cheaper in some terms. Still, we are talking luxury because it's, in the end of the day, it's a watch. If we're talking about a watch that can be as cheap as 10 dirhams or $10, then when we're talking about $10,000, it's already in a luxury segment. The ones that you're talking about, Richard Milles, very unique, one of one or 1 out of 10, these are super ultra luxury, in my opinion.
What about AP?
Still the same
Consider
range.
super luxury?
Luxury, the same as Rolex. I wouldn't see that, in my opinion, I wouldn't see that. Both of them are ridiculously priced for a watch. Again,
Okay, so
this
based
is
on what
I'm-
you're saying, would you consider MR Beachfront luxury, for instance?
Would I consider MR beachfront luxury? I would call it a luxurious destination, but the apartments, I would not call them luxurious.
So the same thing can be translated into a Rolex as well. Like MR Beachfront is a luxurious destination, yes, because of its location, but the product in itself is not luxury. Why? Because it has high quantity. The original prices were not that high, for instance, and the quality is not comparable. For example,
in my
to
opinion,
Omniat.
quantity is not a factor because luxurious means, let's say in real estate, in terms of real estate, means like high end. If we build a lot of high end, does it mean it's not luxurious anymore?
Yes, of course.
Why?
Because
Why is that?
limited quantity is always perceived luxury. This is just for every
I know
segment.
it's perceived luxury, but if I want to label a product luxury,
And branding, of course, as well. Branding.
yeah,
is
but if I want to label a product luxury, wouldn't be enough that I make it really high end? It's not enough. Why it have to be?
It's not enough because I'll give you an example. Once again, back to the watch world, like Grand Seiko, right? Their quality is better than Rolex, right? It is. Like
I
their-
disagree, but okay.
No, this is not something to disagree about. This is
Okay, let the viewers agree or
but no,
disagree.
like,
This is their-
the viewers, Google is free, and believe me, I've done sufficient research to let you know that really, like when it comes to the quality of work, the accuracy of the movements, Grand Seiko is a lot better than Rolex. Even the plus minus seconds in the day is better than Rolex, right? But because of their quantity of output and the branding,
But here one small point. I will let you continue. But again, when we're talking about this kind of watches, it's not about the time. I know there's some watches that they have 1 second like error in 100 years. But what's the difference of having 1 second error in 1 day or 1 second error in 100 years? When we're talking about quality here, it's not about the error of the watch.
but it's the quality,
about
the making quality is
it's
also
about
better.
let's say it's made out of precious materials as an
But
example.
once again, Grand Seiko is better. The attention to detail is better. You cannot beat the Japanese.
Again,
when it comes to
my
that.
opinion.
But I'm stating facts. You know, like really.
Opinion.
No, it
Opinion.
is not an opinion. Grand Seiko's quality is outstanding when it comes to Rolex. So the same
Okay.
thing I can translate to that. Why is Rolex more expensive? Why is there more demand? Because the market is regulated. Quantity is limited. It's a huge deciding factor in watch. Even shoes, Loro Piana. You don't think there's another brand that makes equally good quality shoes as Loro Piana, but the quantity is limited and the brand is there. That's why, in my opinion, what you named initially is correct based on this market where we're labeling apartments that are 500,000 all the way up to 500 million as luxury. We really have to be more specific.
Let's agree on one thing. The labeling that's happening in Dubai right now is ridiculous. Every single product, whether it's good or bad or made out of really disaster material, still is labeled as luxury. Now, this is the reality of Dubai. Everyone's calling their product luxurious. So it's ridiculous, and we're agreeing on this point. But what I disagree with you, you're talking about very, very limited, very, very special projects as luxurious. I would say anything that is built well can be considered luxurious. So it's not only that have to be limited.
So you would call Shoba luxurious?
I call Shoba well built.
So you said well built translates into luxurious.
Well built in a luxurious. If Shoba was in beachfront, I would call it luxurious. The same that what they have, Sea Heaven, for example.
And what again with the MR products you said in beachfront you wouldn't consider luxurious?
Some of them, yes, like Elisab, I would call it luxurious. Address, I would call it luxurious. But the normal buildings, I would not call them luxurious. Again, the destination is luxurious destination, but the product, some of them are, some of them they're not. If we have a Shoba quality in a luxurious destination, which is a beachfront or Shoba or Palm, you can call it luxurious, in my opinion. Even though they build 10 different buildings and there's no limited supply, but for MR case, as I said, like because of the what were we talking about?
MR, why it's like you were saying, like why it's like not considered luxury.
Okay, anyway, so we got the point.
Okay, so and one more thing, have you noticed, like luxury or not, a decline in quality of products that are being delivered now? For example, if we look at MR buildings like that were maybe 5-6 years old, the sizes, the quality, it was very good. Like, I mean, like you had kitchens that were bigger, things like that. And now I'm not talking about MR, but generally in the market, like you're seeing smaller sizes, gypsum boards, a lot of maintenance problems, especially after the rains. Like a lot of developers were suffering with the maintenance problems. Have you seen a higher, like more decrease in quality over time?
Rain issue, I don't count it as an issue, to be honest.
That was exceptional
but
case.
But yes, definitely we have lower standards now, to be honest.
Why is
lower
that?
Average standard in the market.
Profit margins?
Profit margins, huge, bigger competition. Back in time, there were how many players was there? 20 years ago, when you're talking about, let's say, MR6, the 6 buildings in Marina. You're comparing them to the newer buildings, as an example. Yes, those buildings had marble inside of them. They were very big in size. One bed was like 1,500, 1,300 square feet. There were huge apartments, really high end, especially for that time. And when you compare to the product today, they're way smaller in size, way lower in quality. So, yeah, I mean, one of the factors is competition. Back 20 years ago, who was the players in the market? No one. It was MR, little bit Damak, they were in the market. There was not that much competition. Now there's much more.
But people are still buying, and they're buying hand over fist more than before. So do you think the consumer has equally reduced their standards because of this? Like, are we looking at a consumer market that is not as informed as before or doesn't care as much as before?
I would say consumers are really caring about the prices. That's the thing. See, developers, they follow the demand of the clients. So if clients are demanding sizes, they will build big sizes. If the clients are demanding quality, they will build better quality. If the demand is on price, then they have to drop the price. If you drop the price, then you have to reduce the size and reduce the quality. So this is what's happening.
Would you think it would be fruitful, for example, for a developer to come out and suddenly start building high quality again or a bit bigger sizes? Do you think that we get a positive response?
I think what we have now is good enough.
It's good enough for
because we have both normal quality and we have low quality and we have high quality. The issue is some people want high quality and high sizes, but the price of the existing market. So you want to pay the same price that you're paying now, but you want to get bigger size and better quality, which is ridiculous.
Correct. And speaking of consumers, I have another question from you. And we shot an Iranian podcast as well, and you said some of the challenging clientele to work with are from Iran and from Iraq. Other than these, do you find any other challenging nationalities to deal with? I've heard Indians can be quite challenging to deal with.
The reason I didn't name Indians because I didn't work that much with them personally.
But from what you've heard?
But from what I heard, yeah, they could be one of the toughest clients to work with. Generally, Europeans are much easier going. Arabs are also not easy to deal with, but the most difficult ones can be Indians.
And why is that? What is some of the word that you've heard that's going around from your agents, for example?
See, the difference between Indian client, and it's not always, of course, not for everyone.
It's not general.
It's not general, but in the Western market, the role of an agent and the money that agent is making is much more understandable. I have an agent, he's working for me, he's searching for me, he's finding the right product, he's doing his research, he's helping me to get the right unit, he's helping me later with the payments, he's helping me later with selling it, renting it, whatever. For this work, he's getting paid, and I'm happy that he's getting paid. So we can work together. He's getting paid. He's giving me the service. For Indian clients, or at least Eastern clients, not specifically for Indians, Arabs also similar to that. For them, they don't understand this part as well as Europeans. So for them, the process of sale, they only look into that. For example, I find a unit in Amar. Let's say I want to buy a one bedroom in Amar. They only look at the process of booking. You're only spending 1 day to book the unit for me or whatever. Why you should get paid this much? So I want some of that payment. This is what's happening with some Indian and Arab clients. They don't look into the whole process.
Well, they're not wrong. I mean, like, look at the agents these days. A lot of them, they block the client. Like, client, he books it, khalas, it's done, right? Client calls them, they have a problem with the unit. Boom, the number is blocked. So I would give them credit also in that sense.
Yes, that's why we always recommend work with someone that you feel comfortable with, work with someone that they have good reviews, work with someone that have good history. So you're getting the service you want. And on the other hand, the agent is getting paid for it. So everyone is happy. That's how it should work. That's how it should be.
Coming back to the point of agents, I know this is something that is that's spoken about a lot in the market, and honestly, I'm not seeing any change. It's not impacting. In Sweden, for example, to obtain your real estate license, you need to study for 2 to 3 years. A single complaint against you can bar your license for 6 months. Do you think we need to have stricter measures over here? Because
100%.
Because I'm hearing like it's good that they have the examination now, but ever since COVID, the examination has become a lot easier for agents.
Back in the time that I took it, I think 2018.
You had classes, you had to go for difficult
You had a book,
exam.
you had classes, you had the exam. Exam wasn't very difficult, but it wasn't as easy as it is right now. It's online now.
Like, I'm seeing agents finish the exam in 10 minutes now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And boom, you're a real estate license. Like,
Yeah.
do you think there should be stricter measures?
Definitely.
And what would these measures be?
I would say longer classes, the more difficult test, and they should take the complaints very seriously. So if a client complains on an agent, if the complaint is legit, the agent should lose his license. Because
I'm seeing lack of repercussions now as well. Like, it's like the Wild West. The agent basically does as they want, and the clients, two problems. One, it's very difficult for them to find a solution of what to do with this. And two, it's not very easy for them to complain. And three, not a lot happens, to be quite honest with you.
In my opinion, one of the best things that can happen in the real estate market in Dubai is that they regulate the agents more, and they make it more difficult and strict to become an agent, and they take the complaints of the clients very, very seriously. I know they take it seriously, but we're not seeing huge actions against the agents. I know majority of the times it's not the fault of the agents. The client is taking wrong decisions. But I think if they blame that partially, not fully, on the agents will be much more strict and careful on what they sell to the clients, or what they do with the clients, or how they treat the clients. So I think this is a very important point that we can improve a lot in Dubai.
And don't you think if we do that, somehow it will impact the market? Because the limited barriers of entry to becoming an agent and an investor, here are the reasons why we sell. Because look, an agent like yourself, when you started out, you didn't have a network at all. You built it on your own, right? But the agents that come these days, they used to have jobs elsewhere, and they have networks. And even if they don't know anything and they're not knowledgeable, they're still bringing money to Dubai, right? So doing this, wouldn't it
I disagree with that. I think Dubai is bringing money to Dubai. I think the name is bringing money to Dubai. When we're talking to a client, the client is already interested in buying in Dubai. Why? Because he knows the Dubai have very good reputation. He knows that he can make really good returns. He knows it's very safe. He knows it's one of the best places to invest. Already Dubai built the brand. It's like working in Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton already built the brand. They spent money on brand awareness, and now people are standing in line to buy it. The salesperson who's working in Louis Vuitton is not bringing the money. Whether him or someone else is working, still Louis Vuitton will do the same. That's exactly what we're having in Dubai.
And you've dealt with agents a lot, right? Like when you were an agent, when you were buying, like selling properties, you worked with agents, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, right? So same question. Among the agents, what's one of the most difficult nationalities to work with?
Among the Asians?
With the Iranians, it's always interesting, right?
Iranians are good. I mean, there's a lot of Iranian agents in the market. What are the majority of the agents? Either they're Iranians, Arabs, majority of the Arabs are Lebanese or Syrians. Then we have some Chinese. Chinese is their own market.
Yeah,
they have their own
world.
clients, they have their own agents, they have their own agencies. They're completely separate. So you're only dealing with them if you have a deal that they have a seller, you have a buyer. Otherwise, there's no interaction. Then you have Indians and Pakistanis. And recently, in the last few years, we have a lot of Russians as well. So these are the main ones. Then in secondary market, we have, in addition, British. Because British, they're not that active in the off-plan market. These are the main nationalities. We don't have huge variety.
So which one is the most challenging to work with, generally speaking?
To be honest with you, British in secondary market are very tricky to deal with. They have, each one of them, they have their own way of working and they only want to follow that.
They're not flexible at all.
They're not flexible in terms of work. The rest, I think, all the same. I mean, we were working together for so long, everyone became the same.
True.
All of us became Indians, I guess.
So, no, I mean, like, and that's a good thing. I mean, like, even our method of work changes, our accents change. Like, doesn't matter where you're from. You come here, you have the Dubai accent.
Yeah,
you know, it's a mix of Indian, like you said. We all became Indian. The accent becomes Indian, Arabic, Iranian, and everything is mixed.
I would say, like, you become when you come to Dubai, especially whether it's real estate or other field as well. By the way, it's also the same. When you spend like more than 3-4 years here, you become a mix of, let's say, 50% Indian, 30% Arab, so that's 80%. The 20% the rest is mix of other things. So you're this mix of different nationalities. Like you become a new person. But no, new accent, new mentality, new way of doing business, new everything.
You know, but you're right. Funny enough, I was talking to one of my friends. He's from Scotland, right? Quite close to England and the UK. And he told me, he's like, you know what? He's been in the market for like 2-3 years. And he said, you know what I've noticed? He's like, the thing that brings every other agent in this market together is the mutual hate for the British agents. I completely lost it. You know, I wouldn't be so extreme with it because I actually know a lot of British agents who are very good, very nice to deal with because they're extremely professional. But it can be difficult, man. Like, they don't want to stay away from their ways. Like, a lot of them were agents in the UK. They want to follow it to the T. They're not flexible in terms of working. You tell them, like, change this, and, like, it has to go through 6 levels of management to get an approval.
Yeah, exactly. Six level of management to get approvals. When you're working with an Iranian, as an example, or Arab, they're more easy.
Yeah, bring a kidney, Habibi. We will close the deal. No problem. Like, no, whatever it is, we'll just get the deal done.
And you know, the funny thing is that you would think that issues happen because they're not very strict. So issues would follow. But this is the thing in Dubai. The rules and regulations in Dubai are designed in a way that doesn't matter who's sitting and doing the job. The process will always go smooth. I will not say always, 99% of the time. So by being strict, you're not helping the process, to be honest.
You're making it more difficult.
You're making it more difficult.
The process has been designed to go from A to Z smoothly, and everything is written out. It's A, B, C, D, and you're following.
Personally, in the last 7-8 years that I've been working, I never had a case that things went south. I mean, we always figure it out. The law always protect either the buyer, seller. We never had issues. So being strict in some things that really doesn't make sense, and it's really unnecessary because you have the law very strict in this specific manner. So I don't know. It sometimes doesn't make sense to be that strict.
That is true. And another thing I've noticed is that they keep constantly announcing that cold calling is illegal, right? But I receive 50 phone calls a day about this. Sir, you have anything to sell? Sir, you have anything to buy?
This is a new rule. They're regulating the cold calls or calls overall. New rules will be starting from, I think, 27th, which is today. They put new rules like you can only call from 9 to 6 during weekdays. If the client tells you, do not call me back, you're not allowed to call him back, etc. You can read about it. So there's more strict rules now, more logical rules, and they're gonna be strict about it.
And that would impact business as well, like for the agents, I mean.
I don't think it will impact it in a negative way.
So you think it's going to be entirely positive when they do that with the regulations?
Yes, we needed it. We really needed it because it was it created a really negative, feeling for the clients.
It turned us into mosquitoes, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
To some extent, like you would call and they'd cuss you out and immediately they'd hang up on your face. Because I understand, I completely understand. Like for example, they call me as well because. Some of my clients insist that I put my number instead because they're familiar with what happens.
Yes.
And 4 years ago, I'd get a call. The agent would call me and say, like, good afternoon, Mr. This. And it was compelling. Like, you have this unit over here with this view. This is the current price. This is the current rent. If you'd like, I have a ready buyer. Or they tell me, honestly, I don't have a buyer right now. I can list it for you. But now they call me, sir, you have something, buy something, sell. Like what? Like, okay, this is my property. What's it worth? What's the price?
Yes.
Right. If I give it to you, I know nothing is going to happen from it.
Calls done right is great, both for the agents, both for the seller, for the owners, for the investors, and the agent. It's great because in the end of the day, you want someone to sell it. If there's a buyer, if there's a tenant, you want to. Why else you bought the unit? You want to either rent it or sell it in the future. You need something out of it. There's a rare case of end users as well. It's not that rare, but majority are investors. So eventually you want to either rent it or sell it. So these calls are helpful for the seller and for the agent. But the idea is done right. If it's done right, then it's helpful for everyone. And this is what's going to happen moving forward.
And it stems from the company. Because look, the agents that come and old agents, we know this doesn't work, like most of us. And if we do, we have a good technique to make it work, right? But companies that hire 100 people a month and fire 100 people a month, they throw 300 numbers in front of them, and they're like, start calling and get units.
Back to what we discussed in the beginning, I think we need more regulations in terms of who can become an agent. If we have that, again, if we look back 5 years, 10 years ago, we did not, at least in my personal experience, we did not have that. Again, my number was same as yours in the data as an owner. So when I was getting calls, it was much more professional. The agent was specialized in that building. He had long experience, and he calls you professionally. Hi, you have this unit with this view. This is the market price. This is the rent price. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And he's helpful. He's helpful. Even if you don't want to rent it or sell it, he's just there to help you. Let me get this paper done for you. You need this? Okay, I'll get it done. You have an issue with the NOC? I will do it tomorrow for you. I'm already there anyways every day. So this was the reality of 4 or 5 years ago. But today, because of, a lot of agents are joining the market and there's no regulation on that, we see all of these newcomers that are ruining it for everyone, the way they're calling, the way they're speaking to the clients. And hopefully now it will be improved. But I think the source of the issue was not the calls, but the calls not only for real estate. I mean, it will help every industry. But this can be easily solved by making it more difficult to become an agent.
And to get your hands on data in Dubai, it's so easy and it's so cheap. Do you think that's a problem? Because we're attracting a lot of very wealthy and powerful individuals, and you can buy their numbers for a couple of $100 dirhams. Do you think that's a problem?
It's the same everywhere. I mean, look at US, look at Europe, look at Iran, whatever. It's the exactly same.
But they don't face the same problems that we do, like with the number of calls and things like that.
I think they do.
It's exaggerated over here, in my opinion.
It's a little bit exaggerated for property owners. Let's say in a US, you get, as an example, 1 call a week. Cold call, whether related to real estate or not. In Dubai, you're getting 10 calls a week, right? And the issue is because we have excessive amount of agents.
Right, and then there's an opportunity cost for the seller as well, because he builds this attitude, like you say hi to him and he hangs up on your face, and he might miss out on a good agent with a good deal.
Yeah, because you're getting a lot of calls. Eventually you get pissed off.
Right, so like let's say cold calling is out of the question, it's outdated. Like what methods would you recommend to attract clients, for instance?
We are, as you know, we're majority relying on marketing. We don't do cold calls that much. We rely on marketing, whether it's organic or paid ads. And we think it's the most effective way that we're working on it.
And how has that been in the summer, given like this summer is slower than the last 2 years, I would say. How is that going for you?
Definitely slower, as you know, which is normal. We're used to this. This is Dubai. And the 3-month summer, it's slower. But life goes on. It's normal. But it's a healthy market. I mean, if you look at the numbers, we're still doing very well.
That is true, actually.
So we're not afraid at all. But it brings us to the question that we discussed previously. What do you think moving forward what is your opinion on the market moving forward, since This year, for the first time in the past 3 years, we had a slower summer. If you look at 2021, 2 or 3, during the summer was as strong as the winter, if not stronger. But this year, for the first time, we have a summer that is slower than the winter time or the first quarter. So what do you think moving forward?
See, to be honest, I'm a realist, right? And I'd like to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, right? This is my philosophy generally. But this is dictated by realities, by facts. You named one of them yourself. This summer is a lot slower than the ones that we had previously. And in my opinion, the demand in the market is jumping from different products to different product categories. And this generally is not a good indication. And I'll explain why. For instance, before the demand was very high for luxury properties, villas and apartments, correct?
Yes.
And we saw a slowdown with that.
Yes.
Then people switched to townhouses, right? And now people are switching to townhouses that are farther out. So what this means, from my understanding, is that prices have gone high, and the demand category has decreased to medium on average, and they're buying with mortgages now, and people who were late birds to the market are purchasing now, and they're purchasing in far off locations. The demand is still there, but it's not like before, and it's not in the same product categories. And the product categories where the demand is less now, like the luxury, we have oversupply, in my opinion, right? And eventually this could lead to a bit of a slowdown in the upcoming 1.5 years, based on what I am seeing. I don't see a total economic collapse, like we're not going to have 2008, 2007, I hope not, but there will definitely be a correction.
I mean, it makes sense if you look at any market or look at Dubai's history. I mean, the best way to analyze a market is look at the history of that market. And we always had 5 years of growth, then 2-3 years of slowdown, 5 years of growth, 2-3 years of slowdown.
But how bad do you think the slowdown will be this time?
I think it would be much less. Reason being, back in, let's say, 2018-19, when we had the slowdown, 2018-19, 20, the number of nationalities that they were buying in Dubai were much more limited. So in 2014, most of the buyers were Middle Eastern, Iranians, Qataris, Saudis, Indians, this region. So when issues happened with Qatar, they stopped buying, and they sold all of their properties at a very urgent basis. And issues in Yemen happened, so Iranians had issue with UAE. They stopped coming and they stopped buying, and they were selling their properties. They had issues with their visa. All of these affected the market, other than the slowdown that was already happening. So it made it much worse. But today we have much more diverse market. So when last year in 2023 we had complete, not only slowdown, complete stop, we can say, of the Russian buyers, which were the top buyers in Dubai, we didn't see an effect on the prices. Actually, the prices continued growing since last year.
But in other segments, not in waterfront and luxury.
The waterfront and luxury, yes, it slowed down, but again, we don't have a drop in price. That's the difference. When we're talking about 2018, we had a...
Yeah, but stagnation leads to the downfall. Like there is a limit, because that demand was an unusual demand from the Russian market. We are inevitably going to start seeing a slowdown in waterfront and high luxury products. I'm not saying,
this is the point I'm trying to make. I'm not saying that we're not going to have a slowdown. Again, every market, it will not be anything close to that, to what we had in 2018 and 19 and 20 when the market dropped 30-40%. Again, why is that? Because at that time, Iranians were 20% of the whole market. Qataris were, let's say, 15% of the whole market. Two nationalities out, you have 30-35% out.
But that's a double-edged sword, don't you think? Like when you have more nationalities, you have more global problems as well. Like, for example, you have more Europeans and Americans and Canadians.
Absolutely not, because you have less risk. That's the most important part. If I'm only relying on one nationality and that nationality stop buying, I'm dead. Which in this case last year, again, when the Russians completely slowed down, the market continued growing.
Supported by other nationalities.
But it was supported by other nationalities. We didn't have any issue. If the market was relying only on Russians and Russians stopped buying, what would have happened? 2019, 2020 would have happened, right? So this is very healthy in the market, and that's why the slowdown that we're gonna have, it's gonna be much smoother than what we had previously.
But similar duration, you would say, like 2 to 3 years as well?
Always 2 to 3 years. At least 2 to 3 years we're going to have. It's completely healthy. But here's one thing about the markets. Not always what we expect happens.
Yeah, true. Like, for example, like let's give an example, like 2021. Majority of people thought that after the expo it would slow down, but it didn't. The predictions were wrong.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, every year in the summer we have speculation that the market is going to crash.
True.
I think it's because of the summer depression.
But one of the things that I want to say, even if technically and by every economic metric we understand that the market is a bubble, still it can continue growing. True. And the best example is that the movie Big Short is a great movie. I love it. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Michael Burry, everyone knows him. The guy predicted the 2008 crash.
Yeah, he bet against the market.
I don't know the numbers, but I think as far as I remember, he bet like 3 years before that, and he was expecting the market to crash next year.
True, because he saw the CDOs were going to collapse.
Exactly. From every metric, he knew that for sure this is going to happen next year, or it's going to happen anyways anytime soon. But it continued growing year after year. It took maybe 3 years to eventually collapse.
Correct.
This shows that even if today we realize that we're in a bubble, which we're not, if we realize that and we understand that, yes, for sure the market is dropping, still this does not mean that next year the market is dropping. It can continue for the next 5 years.
Anything can happen.
Exactly. So we cannot really predict. If someone telling you for sure, I know, let's say next year the prices are dropping, it's really bullshit.
That is actually, and especially with Dubai, like for example, Switzerland, taking your money there has become very difficult now. It's very challenging. So I'd only place my finger on Dubai and UAE as the only place that people bring their money. And I like to call these booster events. Like when another country blows up or has problems, where does the money go?
Dubai.
And this in itself can postpone our economic downturns. And we saw this once again with the Russian market. In my opinion, the Russian market, when they came here, that was this huge boom. Like that was the start of the boom.
Yes.
And that really propelled us.
I would say the start of the boom was 2021, like during the expo
period. It was picking up.
Yeah, picking up.
Granted,
step by step,
but
boosted by Russians. Yes, true.
Okay. So why did they leave the market?
I mean, eventually there is limited amount of people who can purchase a property, right? This is one of the things. But the other things, you see, whenever something new happens, people panic. Anywhere, any market. So war happened, people panicked. What they do, they bring their money out. Year by year, time passed, they see everything normal in Russia, things are moving normal. One of the things that people were expecting, they thought that the Russian ruble will collapse, which it didn't. So that's why they wanted to bring their money out before it collapses. But it didn't happen. So when they saw everything is smooth, things are going well, they didn't see the need to come the same as they came in 2022. Correct. And again, those who wanted to come, they came anyways. They bought anyways. So
correct. You're quite familiar with the stock market, right? Like generally speaking, you have an idea of what goes on, and I believe you invest in stocks as well, correct?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, great. Yeah. I love innovation, but certain innovation to me does not make sense, right? For example, I'm seeing a lot of companies revamping this idea of buying shares of a property, like a single unit, like let's say 1 million dirhams, they break it into 1,000 shares and they sell shares to people. So for low cost, you can be partial owner of a property.
I think it's one of the worst ideas.
It's never worked. It's never worked throughout history. It's not the first time it's happening, but it just doesn't make sense because the stock market, with all of its regulations, books and books of regulations, you've got tax authorities, you've got the stock market, like from the FBI, for instance, they regulate the stock market, and it's been going on for 100 years, and still things happen that are out of control. People get scammed, they short the market.
I think the issue is not only it's out of control, what you buy, what you sell, when you buy, when you sell. This is not the only issue.
There's limitation in regulations. It's not possible. You have to regulate it as strictly as the stock market.
Again, my issue is not that. Even if you regulate it, still it's a bad investment because, see, when you're investing in stock market, you have a potential of 10xing your money, right?
Right.
The company can be 1 billion today, in 1 year can be 10 billion, right?
Right.
This cannot happen in properties.
True.
So why properties are valuable? Because of the option of mortgage, the option of leverage, the options that you have in real estate which you don't have in stocks. Today, I heard one great example online. I was reading about it. Someone was saying that even the banks themselves, they don't give you mortgage or they don't give you loan to buy their own share. So they don't even guarantee their own shares.
Very good.
But they guarantee the real estate market. That's
it's a tangible asset. It's
exactly.
real.
But when you're buying a share of that, what exactly
Doesn't make sense. If you're having 10% growth a year,
What-
and that is an if, like
What's the benefit?
What's the benefit? And then I have more questions. Like 1,000 people own the same property. Who decides to sell? Who decides when to sell? And if someone comes and buys majority shares and shorts the others, and then you have another set of problems on your
But
hands.
here's the important part. Let's say you have 100,000 dirhams. Instead of buying a 10% of a million dirham property, put it as a down payment of a 500,000 dirham property. So 20% of that. That's how you should do real estate.
And then you can gradually pay off the mortgage.
And
for
when
instance.
the price goes up 10%, you're earning from the 500,000. That's the whole idea of real estate. Leveraging, getting a payment plan or getting it from the bank or flipping it in the right way, flipping it in the right time, renting it out. The rent will pay your mortgage. These are all how you can use real estate in your advantage. But if you use the share idea, you lost all of the advantages that real
But why
estate
are they
have.
so adamant to push this to happen? Like I don't where does the benefit come in pushing a concept like
I don't
this to
know. It
happen?
doesn't make sense to me.
And
at all.
given history, it's failed every single time. And we're talking about some big players that are coming out with these ideas. And but why? What's their end game? Like,
For me, it never made sense. I would never put money in this kind of product. Again, because it defeats the whole purpose. I would just buy stocks. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching us, we're going to continue doing it and we're going to take it more serious.
no, actually less serious because we're going to add some funny stuff as well.
No, I mean like more serious in putting more effort into it. But the whole idea of the podcast is that to be transparent about Dubai, because there's a lot of misunderstanding and misinformation about Dubai. We're going to talk business, we're going to talk different topics, but the main goal of the podcast is to especially for people who are new to Dubai or planning to come to Dubai or planning to invest in Dubai, to get a real understanding of what's going on.
Transparency.
Transparency, exactly.
Maybe we should name the podcast Transparency.
Maybe. We'll think about that.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Puya. It's always a pleasure, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Ali.